Hello creative friends, this is Joy. So this is the third video of multiple videos showing you how I created a little golden book journal for Frida Kahlo, or out of a golden book of Frida Kahlo. So here I have my signatures together, and I'm going through and using the offcuts from creating the signatures and looking at other items that I've put together for creating this journal to figure out the different things that I want to add to the journal as far as tucks and pockets and belly bands and decorations and edge edge decorations on the edges. And so I'm going through and I'm just seeing what I have and what I've collected and what I'm going to do, trying to figure out what to do. So I, decided, well, what I first need to do is determine what pockets and tucks and belly bands that I'm going to add to the journal. And I also have some stamps and some other ephemera. And so I do add some of that as I'm going, but mostly this video focuses on adding the things like belly bands, tucks, and pockets to the journal. So I'm just looking at the different ephemera here. I want to put one of them on this page of Frida Kahlo, and I'm determining which one that I want to add onto this page. So I like this picture, so I decided to glue this down to the page. I think this looks really pretty on this page. So yeah, this kit I've had for a while, and I've been wanting to do something with it, but not sure what to do. And so then I decided, I've been seeing videos where people are making journals out of little golden books, and I've been wanting to do one for a while. And then when I started looking at what little golden books there were and I saw Frida Kahlo, I'm like, yes, there you go, that's what I want to do with this kit. So I'm using some of the offcuts from the pattern paper that I used for some of the signatures in this journal, and I decided to use them as pockets and tucks and whatnot. So I measured out like how wide of the pockets need to be and how deep. I think I made them like 3, maybe 3.5 inches deep. And then I'm gluing those down to the page. So I'm just trying to make sure I, get it right along the edge of the page and then glue that down. So that's what I do for the pockets. For I believe the next thing's a belly band. I had these offcuts from the other pages, and I'm thinking, oh, these will make great belly bands, and they're the perfect height. They seem to work perfectly in this journal. And so I put a little bit of glue on the top and the bottom, and I glue that down as a belly band in the journal. Easy enough. And I want to obviously add something, to kind of decorate it more, but I couldn't quite I think I ended up gluing that flower down. But on the other belly bands, I couldn't quite figure out what to glue down. And so I ended up figuring that, well, I'll just save that for later. And so I decided not to worry about that as far as that goes at that time. So here I have another piece that I decided to use as a tuck spot. So I'm just trying to get it in my cutter corner to corner and then cut that into triangles. And then I realized, well, wait a minute, those will fit on the right side, but what about the left side? So then I got another piece, another offcut, and I measured how, tall it was, and then I went in the opposite direction in order to get the one for the other side, because I want to do one on each side. And so I put those aside to use in one of the other signatures. And then I glue down these corner tucks on the inside of this page and the other side of the same page. So that's what I'm doing here, gluing that down and then doing the same on the other side. And you won't see it here, might see it towards the end, but I realized after this is the cover, which is in video 1. If you want to go back and look at that, you can go back to video 1 and see the cover. Well, here I'm showing you all the pages with the tucks and the pockets and the additional papers that I added, because I did go back and add more papers to each signature. And because I realized there's a lot of pattern paper in here, but not a lot of writing spots. And I am going to add, different tags and stuff to the pockets for more writing spots, but I also wanted some other papers like that light green there and whatnot to have additional pages where you can write on. So here I'm just showing you where I'm at so far with the journal. I didn't record me going through gluing down every pocket, tuck, belly band, what have you, because it's just same thing over and over again. So I went through each of the signatures. I was debating on whether to switch that around, but I decided, nope, I kind of like it like it is. And here I'm thinking, should I switch this around? But I think I ended up deciding to keep it where I had it. Thought, nope, I kind of like it where it is. And so, yeah, these are the different signatures I have already. And some of the pages you'll see I added a little bit of that washi tape for a little extra decoration. And you'll see, again, the different pockets, corner tucks, and belly bands that I added. So I'm just kind of showing you a quick flip through of my pages at this point. And I did add a few embellishments, like right there, but not a lot. So here I'm showing you, these are 2 of the stamp sets that I got with this kit. And I want to go through and add some stamping to some of these pages. And so I get out the first stamp set, and I actually glued quite a few pictures from the ephemera that came with the paper pack into this journal. And so I decided I didn't want to use the stamps with the faces of Frida Kahlo on them, because I think I have enough in there. But in any case, I decided to, at least use some of the flowers and the words and stuff to add to some of the pages, some additional decorations to these pages. So I'm using an archival ink pad, and these are brand new. I've never used them before. Although I did get this stamp set quite a while ago, but I've had it all this time, and I just, have never used it, because I know, I was like, what am I going to do with it now that I got it? Until I, realized they had a little golden book for Frida Kahlo, and I just was okay, this is perfect. So here I was testing the stamp on a different piece of paper, and for some reason I could not get it to stamp correctly. As you can see there, it just kept not stamping, and I'm like, what is going on here? Why am I not getting a good stamped image? So then I'm like, well, maybe it's a stamp pad. So I get out a different stamp pad, and I'm like, let me try a different stamp pad here. So I got out my Stays On, which is usually pretty good, even though my stamp pad is kind of drying up. That was a better impression. So I'm like, okay, something's going on with the stamp pad, or I don't know, maybe the stamp, I don't know what the problem was. So then I tried to stamp it on my paper, and guess what? It didn't stamp right. I was so frustrated. So I'm like, okay, well, it's a clear stamp. You're supposed to be able to line it up. So I'm trying to line it up and stamp again, but this time pressing even harder. Still nothing. Are you kidding me? What's going on with this stamp? I was so frustrated. Um, so then I'm like, I'm taking it off the block. I don't know what the heck is going on with this stamp, but gosh darn it, I'm going to get it to stamp one way or the other. So I just used my fingers and I got it to stamp on this paper, and it's like heavy cardstock. And so I'm like, that's it. I'm just using my fingers because apparently a stamp block's not helping the situation here. So I stamped, at first time I stamped it, it was okay, but I mushed it too hard. And I was like, maybe if I don't push on it so hard, I'll get a better impression, which I did, but there was a couple of areas. So I took out a black pen to like fix the couple of areas that was kind of, lightly stamped. And then I, decide, well, I'm just going to stamp it on this, paper and cut it out and then glue that on the paper. That wasn't like my ideal situation there. I really would have liked to have been able to stamp it on the paper itself. But yeah, I mean, these stamps, well, until I decided just to use my fingers, I mean, I was not able to get a good impression, but even some of the stamping I did, unfortunately, I still didn't get that great of an impression. I mean, I do know that my stamp pad probably needs to be re-inked, but still, it should have been able to at least stamp, decent. And so, yeah, so I'm like just, I'm not really fussy cutting, but yet I am, if that makes sense. I didn't like go up to the edge. I kind of like quickly went around the edge and left like a little bit of, a border around it. Um, I don't know if it's easier or not, but for me, it's less, it was easier. So I glued that down. I'm like, the heck with it. I'm just going to stamp my images on this cardstock and then I'll glue the darn things in. But I really, again, did not like having to do that. Um, I was like, gosh, I don't want to have to do that. But, whatever. So these shorter papers, like the screen paper, was one that I added after the fact to just add more paper to the journal. But you can see the difference between how far that goes and then the other pages, which is the size of, the pages for this journal. So I thought, wouldn't it be nice, to add some trim to these shorter pages? I mean, that would be pretty. So I've got some different laces that I've had my stash, and I decided to use those as trim on some of the pages, and that way it would help extend them out and give a really pretty bordered edge to the pages. And I tested it, and I'm like, well, that's kind of sticking out a little bit further than I would like it. I don't mind it peeking out a little bit, but it really, I don't want it peeking out that much. So I pulled it up and then I moved it in a little bit more and then realized, well, if I'm going to do an edge trim, I need to do that first and then do the stamp because it was like, a little too close to my stamp image. Actually, I think I even had to go over my stamped image just a little bit, but it's fine. It still worked, and I need to add a little bit more glue to that. So, and I'm just using my Fabri-Tac glue um, for that edge trim. And then on the other side, it kind of looked unfinished. I didn't really care for the unfinished look on the other side. So this kit that I got came with some washi tape. So I ended up using washi tape on the other side, which you'll see that in a minute. And here, again, I want to stamp this word, and again, I was like, oh, I need to do the trim before I do the stamping, because again, when I went to put on the washi tape on that edge to give it more of a finished look, it was a little too close to the word. But, you know, it still worked out. But anyway, this is, like I said, part 3 of multi-part videos to creating this journal. I've been working on it, you know, for the last 2 weeks, and I'm still working on it. I'm still not done, but I wanted to at least get these first couple of videos edited, narrated, and out as I continue to work on this journal. So I hope that if you want to see, you know, the rest of the videos on how I create this journal, that you hit the subscribe button and that notification bell. And if you haven't seen the first 2 videos showing you how I created the cover and how I created the signatures, then you can go back and watch those as well. So I just continue through this signature, determining what I want to add, what, you know, where. Here was a shorter page, so I'm like, okay, this would be pretty with some trim on it. I really like those roses on there. I thought they were really pretty. And I figure out like how long I need this to be. But I decided I'm going to glue this to the back side because I didn't really cover up that pretty rose print on the front. So put a little bit of the Fabri-Tac glue along the back, and then add that little bit of trim. And then trim off any excess. And so that, you know, I thought turned out was going to look really pretty. And here this is another floral stamp I want to stamp. And so I'm testing it out first, because brand new stamps, you know, you might want to do them a couple times till you get them going. And so once I, you know, got a good impression, I cut that out and decided I guess I was going to use that as an embellishment on there. I used this on the belly band, because again, I wanted to add a little something extra to those belly bands, decorations or what have you. So again, I kind of just left some of the white around the border of the flower as I was cutting it out. And that way I didn't have to get too fussy about it. And then cut this flower out. And actually, I think I cut off the stem. I decided not to use the stem. I just wanted the flower part. And so I end up, you know, gluing that onto that belly band. And actually later on I do end up coloring the flower with, yeah, so I had the leaf on the stem, and I'm like, that might get too flimsy. So I glue that down, and I do later on go back and color it with some colored pencils to kind of match the background and the belly band. So anyway, I'm going to continue to work through this journal and add to it. And the next one will show you how I actually bind these signatures once I get them all, go through them all and do all of these into the cover. So I hope you come back to see that, and I hope you like this video, that you hit the like button, that you subscribe and hit that notification bell to see more. And I hope to see you again, or talk to you again, or create with you again coming soon. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.